Hello, book people. Today I'm going to be reviewing a book that is near and dear to my heart, and that is Silver Linings Playbook by Matthew Quick, which was made into the fantastic motion picture by David O. Russell as the director, starring Bradley Cooper, Jennifer Lawrence, and Robert De Niro. Okay, so I'm going to start by saying I really love this book. But at the same time, I can acknowledge that it is not necessarily what most people would consider high literature. I think there are very sophisticated themes in here, but I think the way that the narrator's voice is so simplistic leads a lot of people at first glance to think of it as just something simple. And it is. It is both simple and complicated. Its main character, the protagonist, is Pat Peoples, who is essentially writing diary entries to keep track of his life as he works towards a reuniting. Oh, that's embarrassing. As he works towards reuniting with his ex-wife, Nikki, which he calls a part-time as the time he's currently living in away from her. So pretty much all we know is that he was in a institution. His mom comes and picks him up, and then takes him home, where he hangs out with his dad, who's a Eagles fan. They're all Eagles fans, and whose moods are insane based upon the Eagles winning or losing, whether or not he's going to be in a good mood or bad mood. So anyway, the characters are very quirky in that essentially all the characters are pretty quirky. The mom has her own things. I guess you could say the only thing that all of them have in common is that they are all flawed. And I think the film does a really good job of capturing this as well. The film ends a little happier, by the way. But I think it captures the neuroses of everyone has. I heard a friend comment that they think the narrator in this book reminds them of an adult Holden Caulfield from Catcher in the Rye. And that makes a lot of sense. He kind of does have a lot of very strong opinions. He's kind of childlike, but he sees things that other people don't see as well. And he kind of becomes like a person to kind of aspire to in the way he sees the world as kind of black or white and has so much optimism. It's hard for me to really pull apart this book and I'm hesitant because this book has such a special place in my own life. I was working at like a family-owned deli for several years, and I don't know, it became a place where I felt very safe and I was very happy working there, and you know, I had a lot of friends, I had a lot of good memories, and I for the most part enjoyed it. But it became like a safe haven, a kind of home away from home. And I was really involved and emotionally invested in this place, and then it eventually ended up having to close down, and when it did, I was kind of left hanging, like not in a bad way, not in any like financial sense, but in kind of like a malaise. I was I was a little depressed, and I didn't even realize I was depressed. I ended up being unemployed for a little bit and just sitting around home. And then one day I went to the bookstore. I thought, oh, I'll go look around. And this book caught my eye because I saw Bradley Cooper, and I enjoyed his work. And then I read the back, and it talking about a movie, life's a movie, and working towards a silver lining. So that sounds interesting. And so I bought it. I was like, hey, you know, this seems like something kind of like, you know, simple, light. And then I read it, and it hit home for me. And it really turned me around. I got much more active and went out and got a job, found work, and got back into school. Not back into school, I was in school, but I just happened to be on a break So I started in my next semester and was really involved and up and going. And I've read this at least 3 times since then. So I mean, I just read it every so often to get back into this world and to get this story and to really get kind of like a pep talk kind of. So I don't really want to tear it apart too much or analyze it too much. It's still too important to me right now to pick apart. So anyway, just so you know, obviously I liked it and had an impact on me. If you've seen the film, I think the film is wonderful. I think it's spectacular. It's slightly different. I mean, there's some details changed, and a little bit of the tone is a little different, but I think it's a wonderful film, and one of my favorite scenes that I've in a movie I've seen in a long time is the scene where they play the Johnny Cash Bob Dylan song, and they have the little montage. That's fantastic. One, because I love that song, and two, because it's just a wonderful scene. So yeah, if anyone's read the novel, I would love to hear what you have to say. And if it's negative, that's fine. I can take the criticism. But it would be really interesting to see what anyone else thinks. And if you haven't read it, I highly suggest you go out and give it a chance. It's interesting, and it's definitely interesting as an examination of writing a character that is mentally not what we would consider normal. And I'm not saying that to be disparaging. There's probably a better way of saying that. But it's definitely interesting. So anyway, I'm going to stop rambling. Let me know what you think. And as always, you can, sorry, I'm going to start saying this. You can follow me at Twitter, at Books and Beer. And that's books_and_beer, I believe. And anyway, I'm not that exciting, but you can follow me on there. And as always, have a good life and happy reading.